Excuse me.
All right,
If I could do it, I would.
we'll go ahead and get started. Up next is the supervisors. That would be us. So thank you, Crystal, for helping me this put together. So real quick on the rent of land, that might we'll have to talk. That might. I'll have to work out some numbers. I'm still working on leases with Iowa Central. There might be a little fluctuation in there. I'm working with the ISU extension to kind of finalize that, so that might change a little bit. We were trying to work out how to make it work, so I'm still waiting to hear back.
Okay.
I don't see it being a huge swing. We're looking at variable rate leases to help with the ebbs and flows, because like Iowa Central, we love being able to help them out, but some years they do really well and some years it's really bad. And we're trying to kind of cut off the peaks and valleys so that they can maybe be a little more consistent. So that'll be reflective on our revenue side. It might be the same as what it is, might have been a little bit lower, but we'd like to try to work something out to make that make more sense. Salaries remain the same. Really, everything else is kind of remaining the same. I know we have talked about new chairs for in here. If we'd like to, just because these ones are turning sideways and kind of falling apart, if we want to talk about putting that into our budget. Otherwise, caught me off guard. So mileage, we've decreased a little bit, at least for like myself and Nikki. Oh, something.
Only one that's not decreased is Bob. I know he goes to
Yeah.
Eldora.
Yeah,
for
with
those
the
meetings quite often.
so I think everybody else we've kind of lowered a little bit to kind of match mileage where we're at. School instruction, ISAC conferences, things like that. So setting aside $5,000 for that. So any other big changes in there? What am I missing? Like I said, the one that we've got office supplies at 250, that one might. Say, do we really?
Well, we usually steal from the auditor, so.
Is that where we budget the chairs if we're putting that
In
in?
the office supplies, yeah, I would say so, because your miscellaneous expenses are typically your, the taxes, that we pay or the drainage assessments and whatnot.
Any other big changes out of the supervisors? Like I said, we did 0% for raises for us. Which is pretty consistent for the last.
This year's budget or the current fiscal year's budget went up. I went back to what it was past year because that's what you're actually at. So.
Yeah, so we will be staying the same. I think that'll be 4 years in a row of that, so. Any questions on our budget? Blue Cross Blue Shield, I've added enough kids. Okay.
This budget,
I think that would be,
because we're not taking money from anywhere else except there, and last
Yeah.
year I didn't even turn in last year's, which would have been several hundred, but that's, to me, the chair is a hell of a lot more important than the mileage right now.
Well, and as of right now, none of you have turned in mileage for this current fiscal year, so we wouldn't even have to do an amendment because it's within your department, within the general fund and within the 9,000 function, so we could just do an adjustment if mileage isn't going to be getting used for this fiscal year too. That is an option as well.
Yeah. So yeah, so then maybe we don't put it on this next year's budget then. We can work, like, let's, no, and I thought about that after I said it. I'm like, oh, we can wait
I
till
thought about it when
July.
you said it.
What's that?
I thought about it when you said it.
Yeah,
July's around the corner, but kind of not.
it's a Thursday. So, but yeah, so like I said, the biggest difference, there might be a little bit, in the rent of land. If you guys got any questions on what we're talking about, like I said, I'm working on a variable rate, something that can kind of help out when you've got corn prices dropping or, costs go up. So the one thing that like Iowa Central doesn't get is they don't get to take advantage of some of the government programs like most farmers get. So when they lose, they lose. So, and I get it, that's also the nature of doing business, I guess, but the whole intent when we set this up years ago was to be able to help Iowa Central provide opportunities to
It's a good program out there.
scholarships for, new students coming in, kids that are going there, helps bring, I look at it as kind of an investment in our ag community. Keeping our ag programs at Iowa Central going and it provides, I was talking with Iowa State here the other day. And there's only, of the like 15 community colleges, I think there's only 2 that have, I think us and maybe DMAC have agreements like this sort. I'm sure they probably rent some ground, maybe some of the others do, but I think there's only 2 in the state that do this. So, I think it's a great opportunity as long as we can, being fiscally responsible, continue to help provide that partnership. I think the greater investment is in our community and keeping kids close to home. So
Yeah, that I used to work with them in my former life. And it is a way of keeping the young farmers in our county and in Iowa versus, moving away, and they get an idea of what it's really like to run a place.
So like I said, that we haven't, he's supposed to get me some numbers. He just hasn't gotten back to me yet. It's a little bit unique compared to most, just in how we work out that agreement. So we're trying to get that finished up and hopefully have that on the agenda soon.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this? All right. Thank you, everybody.